The next exhibit I would like to direct your attention to is one of the glass mounts on the top of the breakout area. This exhibit shows tiger beetles, which are a common species across Western North America. Some of the species, as you can see illustrated in this diagram, are beginning to diverge. In fact, they're possibly in the process of speciation. This species pair gives us a great example of how speciation acts in the wild and how two populations can become separate species over time. In order for speciation to occur, two populations have to undergo reproductive isolation, meaning that it is impossible for interbreeding to occur between the populations. There's many different ways that this can occur, includes geographical barriers, behavioral barriers, physiological barriers, and finally through genetic barriers. This occurs due to incompatibilities between the number of chromosomes. Even if a successful mating occurred, the offspring would not be able to form due to different numbers of chromosomes. These forms of isolation can be further broken down into classified as prezygotic, meaning before a zygote is formed, a zygote being the initial structure, which is the fusion of egg and sperm, as well as post-zygotic isolation, so isolation that occurs after a hybrid has been formed. This is usually in terms that the hybrid itself is not viable, so the hybrid is not able to reproduce and create children. In this display, the diagram is showing these tiger beetles undergoing geographic separation, also known as geographical isolation. Within the original population, there was a variety of different colors that existed within the species. You can see that some beetles were of a reddish brown to orange color, while others were of a yellow, green, possibly even blue coloration. Over time, there was a split, often in terms of mountains or other barriers. On different sides of the mountains or barriers, there may exist different evolutionary pressures. For example, on the left split, the topmost in this diagram showing kind of an orange-red color beetle, if for some reason on that side of the mountain the red-orange colored beetle had some kind of differential fitness, and that this color enabled the beetle to survive better than other beetles. Say, for example, there was some kind of predator who was more able to see the yellow-green colored beetle. That beetle would be eaten first. Eventually, over many generations, this would result in a genetic change of the population, as the red-orange color of the beetles lived on more to pass on their genes. The population frequency of this red-orange color would become more prominent. If there is any traits that are related to how an organism mates, or just enough genetic changes over long evolutionary periods of time, when the two forms of beetles came back into contact, say eventually over time a mountain was worn away or a stream opened up between the two, and these two separate populations, which have been separated for hundreds of thousands or even millions of years, came back into contact with each other, they may not be able to mate anymore. This lack of interbreeding, the lack of the ability to create a viable offspring between members of the two populations, would constitute a new species.